like, why is this happening? I know it's like a very meta
Yeah.
foundational question, but what's going on in society?
I mean, we could go down the rabbit trail of,
What's the 60-second version in from your perspective?
there is this. I mean, we live in a society that's me, 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 and everybody wants their special rights, and it's kind of this Olympics of who's the most marginalized, the intersectionality of all of these different identities and whatnot. But ultimately, it's men who want to invade women's everything. One of the female athletes that was in DC this week for the SCOTUS case was saying, this, if men are allowed to come into our spaces, into our sports, there is no longer a female category. There's going to be male category on both sides, right?
Mm-hmm.
There won't be a male category, and nobody, for some reason, it just is not being absorbed by people on the left. These ideologues who will live and die by feelings instead of facts, and I just, it's this circular logic. How do you define a man and woman, or what is a
But it seems
woman?
to be a losing issue for them. Like if this is the hill that they die on, if this is the hill that District Attorney Jose Garza dies on, it seems like he's going to lose that power struggle. I mean, as so goes the country.
God willing, but they are so dug in places like Austin. And it's really, I mean, there's a bit of Austin in my county. So we see a little bit of it. It's not a very conservative area, but it's a little more conservative than the center of Austin. But they cannot seem to dig themselves out of this hole, and they perpetuate it. He gets reelected easily, even though there's an increase in crime, there is increase in homelessness on the streets. He's not prosecuting violent
Hmm.
criminals. He's going after law enforcement for the Summer of Love and their response. So he's still considered fairly popular enough to retain his seat.
We have that clip from Justice Alito. Let's pull that up. This is from the United States
Yes, Your
Supreme
Honor.
Court.
If it does that, then is it not necessary for there to be, for equal protection purposes, if that is challenged under the Equal Protection Clause, an understanding of what it means to be a boy or a girl or a man or a woman?
Yes, Your Honor.
And what is that definition for equal protection purposes? What does it mean to be a boy or a girl or a man or a woman?
Sorry, I misunderstood your question. I think that the underlying enactment, whatever it was, the policy, the law, we'd have to have an understanding of how the state or the government was just understanding that term to figure out whether or not someone was excluded. We do not have a definition for the court. And we don't take issue with we're not disputing the definition here. What we're saying is that the way it applies in practice is to exclude birth sex males categorically from women's teams, and that there's a subset of those birth sex males where it doesn't make sense to do so according to the state's own interest.
Well, how can a court determine whether there's discrimination on the basis of sex without knowing what sex means for equal protection purposes?
I think here we just know that we basically know that that they've identified, pursuant to their own statute, Lindsay qualifies as a birth sex male, and she's being excluded categorically from the women's teams as the statute. So we're taking the statute's definitions as we find them, and we don't dispute them.
Yeah, that's your reaction to that. Listening to that again.
That gives me a headache. I'm trying to follow along with her logic. And, first of all, to use the term she to refer to a man or a boy in a court of law, I think is just a travesty. I mean, in any place, like, we should expect a court of law to be based in truth and reality. You're always you're seeking objective truth in a court
of law.
Yeah.
Yeah, all it's supposed to be logical and rational, but
yeah. But Judge Amy Coney Barrett even adopted their language, referring to this boy as a trans girl.
How did she do that?
She said, what she was asking some question about, what do we do about these trans girls? Like, we don't do anything because they're boys.
Why do you think she did that?
I know. I mean, there's terms going around: toxic empathy, suicidal empathy.
Suicidal empathy. I've heard that
Yeah,
one.
GAD-SAD and toxic
I've heard
empathy.
that. I've heard that
Alley
recently. I've
Doc.
never heard suicidal empathy until recently. I don't know
Yeah.
if it's a new term.
It's a book that's coming out.
Is it?
Yeah.
It's it kind of reminds me of the old adage about like white guilt, that kind
Yes.
of concept.
Yeah.
This is the passage from George Orwell's 1984. I quote it religiously. I recommend that everyone reread this book every single year. If you don't like reading, listen to it. By the way, I was born in the year 1984.
Oh.
That's ironic. Put it up on the screen. Doublethink. Doublethink means the power of holding two contradictory beliefs in one's mind simultaneously and accepting both of them.
Mhm.
It seems like the ACLU lawyer was involved in that
Yeah.
deal. And I've got mixed views on the ACLU because they defended me in the amicus brief for the FBI raid. So
I have a feeling they're not going to defend me.
probably, well, your case involves kind of two competing interests, which is the
Right.
right to privacy and the First Amendment, which is something that's fundamental to what I do. That's why it's fascinating to me. But
Yeah.
that's an interesting, looking at it not through the lens of like the trans issue, just
Mhm.
just right to privacy. Like let me pose a hypothetical to you.
Uh-huh.
If it wasn't a picture of like a tranny, if it was just a picture of a guy, in his baseball cap washing his hands, what does the law do in that situation?
Travis County DA Garza, what does he do?
What does the law do? Because we are so, and it's so unfortunate that we have to look at the world through who's in charge,
Mhm.
who appointed the judge.
Yeah.
And we've kind of resigned ourselves. That's just the way it is. But let's assume for a moment that it was an absolute neutral judge
Right.
and an absolute fair, honest, nonpartisan district attorney. And let's just call them Jones.
Mhm.
Jones took a photograph of a guy washing his hands with his trucker hat in the was it a men's restroom or a women's restroom?
It was in a women's
Women's
restroom.
restroom.
Yeah.
Okay, and it was a dude.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, it was a dude.
That's kind of like a weird dynamic because the hypothetical have to be.
Well,
It was a women's restroom.
Yeah, your hypothetical is that it's a man that's
Okay.
not pretending to be a woman.
Let me change my mistake. Let me
Okay.
change the hypothetical. Let's say a man. I feel like I'm in law school. Let's say a man by accident, not through, he didn't intend to, but a guy in a trucker hat didn't look at the sign and was washing his hands in a women's restroom,
Mhm.
and a photo was taken of them. Under the Texas statute, is that a crime?
Well, we go back to the intent part of that,
Okay.
the statute, right? My intent was never to invade anyone's privacy, and the hill I'm willing to die on here is that does his consent matter more than ours? In a women's space, does a man's consent matter more than our consent? Because at the moment that he entered our space, he was violating the consent of every woman in that room.
Mm-hmm.
Even if one woman amongst us consented, she does not get to consent for all of us. So, and to kind of defend the woman that took that photo, she thought that she was documenting a crime.
Is she been indicted or
No.
warranted?
I have not named
Not
her.
just you, not her.
I haven't named her, so no.
You have not named her. So
Mm-mm.
she's an anonymous source at this point.
Yes.
And if they compel you to testify at trial to name her, what will you do?
No.
You won't answer.
No.
If the judge orders you under contempt of court to name her, what will you do?
I won't name her.
You will not name her.
No.
Well, at the federal level, the U.S. Marshals will come and take you away, but I guess you'd be held in contempt of court. You might go to jail.
It'll be one hell of a mugshot.
You might have to outdo Trump.
I would do my best. I don't think that's a good angle for me, but the lighting is a little weird, I'm sure. I don't think that she deserves to go through
No, of course.
what I'm being put through.
You would be very brave indeed if you went through with that, if it comes to that. But I guess also what I see in you is this willingness.
Mm-hmm.
You've resigned yourself to do eventually what you're going to have to do.
Yeah.
Whereas most humans will do anything to avoid being punished by the state. And you're not built that way. That's why you're on the show. That's why we brought you here. This is James O'Keefe. You know me for exposing the truth and holding the corrupt elite, responsible, and accountable. However, today I want to tell you about protecting your own freedom, your finances. Right now, the warning signs are everywhere. Gold just shattered another record, soaring above $3,750 an ounce and climbing towards $4,000. That's over 44% this year alone. Goldman Sachs, JP Morgan, major banks are forecasting targets ranging from $4,000 to $5,000, even as high as $6,000 by the end of 26. The economic storm clouds are gathering fast. The Fed just cut rates again, but inflation is proving stickier than expected, creating a dangerous mix of rising prices and economic uncertainty. JP Morgan still sees a 50% chance of recession, while trade tensions and geopolitical risks continue to escalate. And let's not forget what's happening overseas, from the ongoing Russia-Ukraine conflict to China's economic challenges and persistent deflationary pressures. The axes of power continue conspiring to avoid sanctions and Western influence, undermining the dollar's dominance, while central banks worldwide are loading up on gold reserves at record levels. That's why we and I have partnered with American Independence Gold. They're veteran-owned, and proceeds from every sale go to Tunnel to Towers Foundation, supporting our first responders and nation's heroes. And listen, right now, I'm offering my followers in the trenches this incredible one-time opportunity to credit your account up to $10,000 in free gold and silver on a qualifying purchase. That's right, this will help you get started protecting your wealth with real physical gold and silver while these historic price levels are still within reach. Every day you wait brings gold closer to $4,000. The price is only going to go up. The smart move is to act now. Go to o'keefemediagold.com. That's o'keefemediagold.com, or call 833-324-4653, 833-324-GOLD. Again, that's o'keefemediagold.com or 833-324-GOLD. Take action, get the facts, and protect your future, because freedom isn't given, it's secured. This is James O'Keefe. Don't just watch history, own a piece of it. What is your price? Because if your price is not your life, then you are for sale.